Hello, everybody. Someone just asked me, are you streaming tonight? Yes. So I told her, yes, I am streaming. How's everybody doing? Glad you can't... Well, I guess you can't answer me. Not yet. I think it's live, isn't it? It's been a while since I've actually used the Twitch channel and used this damn program that I hate so much. Wirecast. I don't know why I keep using it. I guess because I spent money on it. And if I didn't use it, I would feel stupid. But then again, I feel stupid for continuing to use it. Yes, I am using Twitch. I wouldn't be using Twitch if I were having guests for this particular stream. But since I'm not having guests, I just like to have control over, the graphics and stuff. Like, you can see the level up cover here. And I just did this for, just so we could have a good thumbnail. But yeah, welcome to Sound Booth Theater Live. Thanks everybody for coming to hang out. Got some interesting requests today. Oh no, I forgot the graphic for Diggy Diggy Hole. Oh, and to set up the, forgot to set up the YouTube. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to play the YouTube video. Hey, actually, you can see my monitor back there. I'll put it on that monitor so I don't have to set it up like crazy. And that's going to be at the end of the show. Yeah, YouTube is running. Twitch should be running too. Oh yeah, of course you're chatting with me on Twitch. So, yeah, let me give somebody a link here. And let me mute my computer, like I forget to do all the time. So, we have the Diggy Diggy Hole song, sung in the GLAB style. Can't wait to do that. I hate you guys. And we also have, I think we're going to start the day off with Level Up, because I'm curious about it. Ramon gave it a 7 stars, so that's a good 7. Is it 7 stars? What is his rating system? What are the units? What are Ramon's units of measure? Are they stars? Are they thumbs up? I don't know what he uses. Are they levels? It's a level 7 book. Don't know. Danny, did Craig say he was going to join us for this one? Or did he request it himself? Or what's going on with this one? Because I got a PDF, so it looks so I'm assuming, yeah, it looks like he gave us some direction. Danny's going to fetch the author of Level Up. I love this cover. 7 of 10 smooches. How about 7 of 10 bacons? I don't know. I hope Ramon listens to the War Eternus audiobook. I need to give him a free copy. Did you guys notice my shirt today? This is like, I got this when the movie came out in theaters, and incidentally, it was that Christmas. I think it came out during Christmas anyway. But I got this. It's like the only good part of this movie. The only good part of this movie is on my shirt. And not, just the way he looks, but his whole thing. And he was so badass. And really, I can't think of anything that was as badass as Darth Maul in the entire prequel trilogy. Then again, I've only seen the first one. And even as a middle schooler, I was like, this is garbage. I'm done. Not hearing anything from Danny, but let me, he's probably searching. Let me go find this book on Amazon and read the description. I mean, he's killing it, too. If I'm not mistaken, he's in the top 200 of all the Kindle store right now with this book, so... Number 210 at the moment. It's fucking fantastic. Virtual is reality. What would the world be like if video game rules suddenly applied? Marcus is about to find out. After a freak accident, he finds himself stuck between a game and the real world. He'll need to fight his way through football hooligans, carnies, and the dreaded RNG to get to the final boss and save the world. Anything less means it's game over for good. Along the way, he'll learn new skills, chase epic loot, and most importantly of all, level up. If you love light lit RPG, you'll be sure to enjoy this humorous take on the genre. Grab your copy now. I did tag him on the post, so hopefully he'll be here. He might be on YouTube. He might be watching from YouTube. Let me see. Danny. Okay, Danny, you're the only one talking in YouTube. So I'll go ahead and pop this out so I can keep track. Alright, so here goes. We're reading Level Up by Craig Anderson. Alright. Characters. Marcus. British, slowly building his confidence, highly sarcastic. Blacksmith, large and gruff, almost Viking-esque. Blacksmith's daughter, a female version of the blacksmith. Alright, we'll do a... Oh, and this is first person. Alright. So... I'm going to do Scottish for the blacksmith. And he says Sonny. He calls him Sonny, so that makes some sense. Alright, this is called the escort mission. I got some stuff making noise at me right now. So I'm going to turn that off. And get on some level up. The Smoking Anvil is an old man's pub. It smells like pipe smoke from 10 feet away, even though smoking has long since been banned inside. The car park is full of beige Volvos and two-seater sports cars, for those who are still working through their midlife crisis. I crack the door open and peer inside. There is a full-sized snooker table dominating the center of the room. Golf is currently playing on the TV, which is tucked away in the corner. Music from the 60s is blaring out of an old-fashioned jukebox. I spot at least a dozen kinds of local ales on tap. The moment I cross the threshold, the patrons all stare at me. An elderly gentleman approaches me. Now, I think this is the, I think this is the blacksmith. Are you looking for your dad, Sonny? No, sir. I am after a blacksmith. The jukebox skips with a scratch and everyone stops what they're doing. Sorry, I got advertisements bombarding me. A large, bearded gentleman steps out from the shadows. He's wearing a chainmail vest. Oh, okay. What are you looking for? I'm not really sure what the answer is when it's a crowded pub. Presumably asking for high-tech weaponry is out. I say, I've heard you're the man to see if I need to upgrade my equipment. I throw in a wink.
Please stop whatever it is.
Sorry, that's British.
Please stop whatever it is you're doing with your face. I can't help you right now. I have to go pick up my daughter Mary. Unless you can do it for me.
That sounds suitably pointless. Of course. Where is she?
She's in the park just down the road. Bring her back here and I should have everything ready.
Dave, you have made me much better at the Scottish accent with your dwarf army in Greystone, but I still struggle sometimes.
Unless you can do it for me. Oh, wait, no. Bring her back here and I should have everything ready.
That's okay. Simple enough. I turn on the speed shoes, and within 10 seconds I'm in the park. There is a rugby game in full swing, catching the last of the sunlight. There's a yoga club, fire breathers, even an impromptu archery class. A crowded park seems like a bit of a dangerous place to be shooting arrows, but who am I to argue? I spot the blacksmith's daughter, standing all alone. That's a really hard word to pronounce in the British accent. Daughter. I spot the blacksmith's daughter standing all alone. See, now it's getting all weird. I spot the blacksmith's daughter standing all alone. I know it was her because she's as tall as he is and wearing a chainmail dress. She looks more than old enough to walk down the road to the pub. I stroll up to her and say, "Your dad sent me to get you." She nods and I turn to leave, but she just stands there. I take a few steps, then I go back and say, "Just follow me, okay?" She does. Kind of. She makes it 3 steps before she veers off to the left for no apparent reason. She is walking at a snail's pace, so it is not hard to catch up to her. I walk alongside her. "It's actually more this way." She ignores me and keeps walking, right into archery practice. An arrow misses her by an inch, landing in the center of the target with a thwack. That's when I realize what is going on. I'm in an escort mission. Escort missions are the worst. Yeah. Water, daughter, yeah. She continues her glacial pace while the arrows rain down around us. That was like a Australian around. She continues her glacial pace while the arrows rain down around us. I orbit her like a tiny planet, desperately trying to change her course away from the mortal danger. I can see a shot lining up, and it's going to catch her for sure, so I leap in front of it like her bodyguard. My hoodie absorbs most of the impact. I only lose a small chunk of health as the arrow clatters to the ground. That was close. Too close. I pull my hood up and dance around in front of her, blocking the shots of the archers, who seem perfectly content to keep losing arrows despite someone clearly being in the firing line. Loosing arrows, sorry. We're almost in the clear when I take an arrow right in the knee. I hobble off and yank it out with a squeal while Mary stops to smell some flowers. I limp back into danger and drag her out of harm's way. I shout, "Stay right there!" She stares at me, oblivious. I stop and take a look at my knee. It's not bleeding, but it's going to be sore tomorrow. I really need to find myself some legendary trousers. These level 2s just aren't cutting it. I poke my finger right through the hole. I look up to find Mary is gone again. That's when I hear the commotion. She has wandered onto the rugby patch. 30 angry guys are charging into each other in the mud, and right in the center of it is Mary. She is sat down in the middle of the field for reasons known only to her. She starts making a daisy chain. I crank up my speed shoes and run out onto the patch. I try to grab Mary and drag her away, but she is heavy and refuses to cooperate. That's when I get tackled. A chunk of health disappears, and I feel my teeth rattle as I hit the ground. The guy looks at me and says, "Are you mad? Get off the pitch!"
I run up behind Mary and go full speed with my shoes, but she is hard to shift. It's like trying to push a monster truck up a hill. Mud and grass goes everywhere, but eventually we get to the other side. She suddenly picks up speed, right towards the fire breathers. There is 10 feet of clear space either side of them, but Mary walks right down the center. But Mary walks right down the center. I try to shield her from as much of the flames as possible, and by the time we are out the other side, my hoodie is looking rather worse for wear. There are entire patches where no more purple is visible. I'm a charred mess.
Wouldn't he fail the mission if he attacked her, though? Like, wouldn't she attack him? Wouldn't she, like, immediately go hostile?
I've no sooner thought that than one of the yoga students pulls out a knife and charges right at us. I try to hit her, but she is very bendy and keeps dodging out of the way. She takes a swing at Mary and I manage to get between them. I try to parry, but I muck up the timing again and take a knife between the ribs for my trouble. It takes a nasty chunk off my health and hurts a lot. The yoga ninja leaves it stuck there and pulls out another one from goodness knows where. While I am pondering that particular mystery, her mates join in. I proceed to beat the crap out of 7 women in yoga pants. I proceed to beat the crap out of 7 women in yoga pants. This gets the attention of the rugby players, who don't take too kindly to it. I have to turn on my turbo shoes and sprint in and out of danger, taking swings at guys the size of small lorries in between stealing food from a couple's picnic basket. Oh shit. I hate advertisements. Their sandwiches are the only thing standing between me and certain death. The entire time this epic battle plays out... God damn, my accent sucks today. The entire time this epic battle plays out, Mary continues her leisurely amble towards the smoking anvil. I'm just going to leave that one be. That was terrible, but... The door to the pub creaks open and I limp in. I held it open for Mary, who casually strolls in and says, "Hey, Dad!" "Hey, sweetie."
He turns to me.
Any trouble?"
I'm busy removing a knife from my rib cage. When I pull it out, there is a disturbing whistling sound coming from my chest. I use the knife to trim the feathers off the arrows that are sticking out of my back before I yank them out. I turn back to the blacksmith. No, it was a walk in the park. Ha 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 ha. Oh boy, a walk in the park. Okay, so that was the first scene. There's another one called Base Defense. Oh no, Australian. Okay, that's harder. Alright, so in this scene there's Marcus again. Carlos, loud, brash, and enthusiastic. Sarah, slight Australian twang, somewhat cynical. Alright, here goes. Base defense. There are bodies everywhere, strewn liberally through the front garden. Carlos walks amongst the fallen foes, retrieving arrows. I glance at our new base. It's a smouldering crater filled with shards of broken wood and glass, reflected by the sliver of health remaining in the base bar. The ammo crate exploded after the third wave, which didn't exactly help matters. My new tire swing is on fire. Somehow our base looks even worse than before the upgrade. Okay, so Carlos... "One more wave to go! We can do this!" says Carlos. "Honestly, I'm not sure we can. There were already too many of them for us to handle in the last wave, and you know the final wave is always the biggest. What do you think happens if we lose?" Our base will be destroyed and we will have to start Our base will be destroyed and we will have to start again from scratch. My shoulders sag. We don't have time for that. I can't face trying to raise another 50k. Then we have to beat this wave. He makes it sound so simple. There's the sound of horns on the horizon. They start to appear one by one until they're... Excuse me. They start to appear one by one until they... They start to appear one by one until they are all we can see. 50 knights, all heavily armoured and on horseback. All heavily armoured and on horseback. Horseback? Horse is a hard one in British. There's no way we can take them all on without at least a couple slipping through and finishing off our base. I shout, "How many arrows do you have left?" 14! That last wave really wiped me out. You're going to have to make them count. You think? What about that fancy gold one you bought? If you think I'm wasting that on low-level knights, you're having a laugh. A battle cry drifts across the park, and just like that, the knights charge us. Carlos fires a volley of arrows, but they bounce off the knight's armour. He switches his fire to their horses, but they are wearing expensive-looking horse armour, and his shots are at... Lots of Elder Scroll jokes in here. But they are wearing expensive-looking horse armour, and his shots are... But they are wearing expensive-looking horse armour, and his shots are equally ineffective. I burst fire agile, taking a few knights down, but then there is the familiar sound of agile running out of bullets. I don't know what that means. It's no use. We are screwed. Our only hope is that when they have destroyed our base, they don't decide that killing us would make a nice encore. The knights are closing the distance fast when an explosion rocks the park, scattering them everywhere. Several more get frozen in a block of ice. There's a flash and lightning arcs between the... God damn. There's a flash and lightning arcs between the knights. Man, I'm terrible today. There's a flash and lightning arcs between the knights, their armour doing a wonderful job of conducting the charge. A solitary figure appears. Riding on a glistening white stallion. I can't make out their features, but they are wrecking shop. They are coming right at us. I really hope they are on our side. The horse pulls up and Sarah jumps down. She's not wearing much. I can't help but stare at her chainmail bikini. It might just be my imagination, but I swear her boobs are bigger. Carlos confirms my assessment. Holy chesticles! What happened to you? Sarah gives him a withering glance. Okay. Apparently, I need to have a word with the art department. Female heroes in the game are slightly curvier than your average woman. It seems to have affected my physique. He raises his eyebrow. I'm sorry if that's not Australian enough. He raises his eyebrow. I'll say, it's not exactly helped by your outfit. Yes, that's something else I need to discuss with them. All high-level gear for female characters is on the skimpy side. Believe it or not, this offers the highest level of protection. She hikes up her bikini and her new assets jiggle for what feels like a long time. What was I doing again? Oh, right. Guys, can we save the catch-up after... for after the battle? Sarah holds out her hands and more lightning arcs out, shocking a dozen knights. The survivors rush to take off their armour, which is a big mistake. Carlos picks them off with arrows, and I charge in with Showstopper, carving down the rest. I'm just about to relax when I see a group flanking around us to get to the base. We've got trouble, northeast. Sarah Sarah. Do they say Sarah different? Sarah. Sarah glances in their direction. Sarah glances in their Sarah glances in their direction. Sarah glances in their direction, and with a flick of her hands, a pillar of ice blocks their path. As they try to scramble around it, I I'm so mad at myself right now. As they try to scramble around it, I turbo dash over to... Son of a bitch! As they try to scramble around it, I turbo dash over and finish them off. The dust settles, and there are no lights. Oh my god. Every sentence I'm fucking up. The dust settles, and there are no knights left standing. I run over and hug Sarah for a little longer than is strictly necessary. You really saved our bacon. How did you know where we were? I got a big flashing arrow and a message telling me our base was under attack. She looks at the flaming wreckage and says, Is that our base? Carlos waves his hands. I'll have some shots later tonight for the other stream, by the way. Oh, which I haven't mentioned yet. I'll say something after this. Carlos waves his hands. It's fine! We'll get that fixed right up! He kicks the tire swing and the rope snaps, sending the tire rolling away. He says, Those were some pretty kick-ass spills, Sarah. Care to teach me a couple of those? No can do. They are reserved for strict magic users. Speaking of which, I need a potion. My MP is totally tanked. She pulls a glowing blue bottle out of her pocket and chugs it like a student on a Friday night. Can't you just wait for your MP to recharge? I could, but it takes forever when you're a magic user because of the length of the MP bar. Potions are kind of essential because all my spells are so powerful they use up a lot of MP. I check her stats. No, that's not a euphemism. I mean her actual stats. I can hardly believe what I'm seeing. Sarah, how are you already a level 22 mage? Carlos isn't the only one that knows how to cut corners around here. I found a few new exploits we can all take advantage of. I think that's right. Oh man, Australian's hard. I feel a scratch on my neck and my new pet crawls out onto my shoulder. Sarah immediately holds up her hands, ready to zap the little guy. I shout, Wait! He's with me! The dust... Nope, that's not it. What is that? Apparently, he's my new pet squirrel. I almost killed him with the car. Carlos mutters, Death would have been the merciful option. That thing looks like a chipmunk and a rat had a baby, and then tried to eat it. Don't say that! Okay, fine, I was wrong. He waits a few seconds before following it up with, He looks like a wrinkly old man's hairy nutsack. Hey, that's what you should call him, nutsack. First of all, I'm concerned about your seemingly deep knowledge of old man balls. Secondly, no, I'm not going to call him nutsack. There is a chime and I get a message. Pet name accepted. Wait, what? I glance at the squirrel, and above his head it now says, Nutsack. Marvellous. I have bigger problems to worry about right now. I walk over to the nearest tree and try to scoop Nutsack onto a branch. He clings to me as if his life depended on it, his tiny claws digging into my arm. I try pulling harder when he turns and nips my finger. I instinctively let go, and he runs back up my arm and back into my hood. Within moments, the snoring starts up again. Looks like you've got a new friend, Sarah says. Hey, wait a minute. What's that on your back, besides Nutsack? That's Showstopper. It's my new sword. Check it out. I draw it and hold it out for her to inspect. She runs her hand slowly down the blade. Nothing worse than a clingy nutsack. This is a legendary broadsword. Where did you get this? Carlos and I borrowed Collis and I borrowed a few things from an illegal gambling den. Her expression immediately shifts.
Please tell me it wasn't run by the Black Ring?
Now that you mention it, everyone was wearing matching jewellery, and I vaguely recall someone mentioning the name Black Ring. Is it a problem?
Well, that depends on your definition of a problem. Do you consider an ever-growing bounty on your head that will attract everything from the lowliest scum to the most ruthless assassins a problem?
Yes, that definitely sounds like a problem. How do we make it stop?
There are only 2 ways in the game to stop the Black Ring bounty. Die, or kill the leader of the Black Ring.
Let's go with door number 2. Let me guess. The leader is some ridiculous mid-game boss that will chew us up and spit us out? Sarah sighs.
Something like that. Let me ask, how do you feel about the vampires?
Okay, and that's it. Okay, so yeah, this book does sound awesome. There is a character named Nutsack. So good. Okay. Just had to ruminate on that for a little while and accept it as a reality. So yes, thank you, Craig Anderson, for requesting Level Up, your new book that is killing it on Kindle right now. I hope you saw this, and I hope you enjoyed it. So, yeah, on to the next. We're going to read some Everybody Loves Large Chests. Now, before I move on, someone asked who won the contest, the headphones contest, and I'm not sure yet. I need to check on that. I actually don't run the thing. Jess, the audio bookworm, does, so I need to text her. Maybe I should just text her now and see if she knows. There. Send her a text. And I told her that Dave said hi. So let's see. So I need to choose something from Everybody Loves Large Chests. I forgot to choose something before I started the show. But I think I know what I want to do. I have a feeling I actually did this before on a Sound Booth Theater Live. Because I remember this scene vividly from before I read it. Like in the finished edited version. So wait a minute. I'm trying to think if maybe there's a better part to choose. What else happens in this book? I know. I know what to read. Let's use the table of contents. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit spoilery, but it's got a fun exchange. I did the tentacle rape, not rape chapter last time. Yes, I did. And that's not in book 2. I'm doing something from book 2. Okay, so this is a little bit spoilery, but it's funny, and it'll be good for the show. This is Fizzlesprocket. Everybody Loves Large Chests. Boxy woke up with its usual violent flailing. Or at least it tried to. In the next instant, it was made painfully aware of two solid metal clamps that were bolted onto its imitation wood surface. They completely encircled its body as if it was a barrel, preventing its maw from opening up. Perhaps it was a good thing the mimic had been knocked out. Having those braces affixed to its body would have been incredibly painful to experience. You know what, guys? I kind of want to record this, because I haven't recorded this part yet, and since I'm already doing it... Oh no, what happened? There we go. Okay, I gotta go get the Ableton thing over here. Yep, there it goes. Alright, this is part 4.2. Plenty of room here. Maybe I'll actually even put this up on the stream. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Looks like I'm not set up for it. Maybe this? Yeah, there it is. But that's in the wrong spot. Why? What? Oh my god. I'm sorry, guys. I hate this program. I hate it. I hate it. There we go. There we go. So we will switch this out. Bam. Okay. So yeah. Here goes. Whatever damage it suffered as a result of the operation had already healed up. That only made its current situation even worse. Oh no. Whatever damage it suffered as a result of the operation had already healed up. No. Whatever damage it suffered as a result of the operation had already healed up. No! Why do I keep doing that? The same thing. Whatever damage it suffered as a result of the operation had already... Whatever damage it suffered as a result... Whatever damage it suffered as a result of the operation that had already healed up... I'm very confused with the structure of this sentence. Whatever damage it suffered as a result of the operation had already healed up. That only made its current situation even worse. Its wounds had closed up around the steel screw... Its wounds had closed up around the steel screws holding its bindings, causing its flesh to fuse with the foreign objects. It would be impossible to take these things off without having chunks of its own body ripped out. Those were hardly all of the restraints, however. The monster was hanging inside a cubic cage that was about 2 meters long, wide, and tall. It was being suspended by 4 heavy-duty chains, which connected those metal clamps to each upper corner of its new prison. The series of vertical and horizontal bars were made out of an ominous-looking black metal, and judging by the low buzzing and blue sparks that occasionally leapt between them, the bars were currently electrified. If the mimic hadn't been as firmly strung up as it was, it would have swung into the metal and electrocuted itself without meaning to. Let me give you guys a little bit better view here. There you go. As for the source of the electrical charge, that was most likely the large metal box attached to the outside of the cage. Its faceplate had a few switches and dials on it, and 2 bright blue wires connected its insides to the cage. Boxy peeked inside the thing using its magical perception, seeing a complicated hodgepodge of wiring and circuitry and a glowing tank of shimmering, bright blue liquid. That must have been the fuel supplying power to the cage. Now that it had properly regained consciousness, the monster began to remember the situation it was in. A human had completely defeated it with a single blow. After introducing himself as Edward, he then poured some strange liquid onto the mimic which made it pass out. And now it was here. Where was here, though? The room the cage was sitting in seemed to be a large jail cell, probably inside the local keep's dungeon. That would be the lock them up and throw away the key type of dungeon, not the there's a giant exploding shiny in the middle of it kind that Boxy was born in. The walls, floor, and ceiling were nothing but plain stone bricks. Well, aside from the rubber mat underneath the cage insulating it from the rest of the room, for some reason, there was an empty wooden chair directly in front of...
Finally awake?
A voice came from somewhere in front, causing the mimic to panic. It then recalled that the old man who captured it was somehow able to elude the creature's magical perception. There were a number of ways one could avoid detection through mystical means, and the culprit, in this case, was the level 80 rogue skill called Obfuscate. Boxy wasn't aware such a thing existed, though, so it was completely lost as to how such a thing was possible. The most it could do was confirm that the voice came from somewhere in front, so the mimic grew a large feline eye on top of its lid, where a chest's lock might be. Once it was armed with a more mundane type of vision, Edward once more appeared before it. He was sitting cross-legged in the chair right outside the cage and took the blinking yellow eye as a sign that the monster was indeed awake.
Very good, he said in a calm manner. Now then, do grow back that head so we can have words. I'm sure... Oh, you already did. Never mind, then.
The sheer speed at which Zira's flawlessly sculpted face appeared out of the monster's front caught him a little bit unawares. It looked so real, too, as if someone had cut off a woman's head, shaved it clean, bleached the skin, then glued it onto a chest. The man's eyes seemed to linger on the pseudo-succubus's pointed ears, which were normally hidden by her... The man's eyes seemed to linger on the pseudo-succubus's pointed ears, which were normally hidden by her silky long hair. The spymaster took out a small, leather-bound notebook and a never-ending quill. He flipped the booklet open to a blank page and scribbled, Erosa Mimic Interrogation, at the very top as a sort of title, then got down to business.
Let's begin, then. First of all, why use that appearance?
He gestured at Zira's pointy-eared face.
It's easy,
Boxy answered in a hoarse voice completely mismatched with the beautiful face it was using. It was much closer to its natural way of speech rather than that of the sultry succubus.
Easy how? Inquired Edward.
I know it the best.
Uh-huh.
He wrote down, elf-witch connection, on the first line.
And who is it you're imitating?
Snack.
I mean, what does this individual mean to you?
She is Snack.
What is her name?
Snack.
Edward sighed sharply. This was only his third time speaking to a monster capable of both reason and language, so he had forgotten that one had to let go of certain expectations when speaking to such creatures. Some would argue he should just put the squeeze on his suspect, but he knew from experience that torture was not a viable method of gathering information. His way of interrogating prisoners was much faster, more reliable, and far less messy, although it did require a certain amount of patience.
Okay, I'll bite. Whose snack? He asked.
My thing!
Make that a lot of patience. Where is Snack right now?
The Beyond.
So it's a demon? Then how come it's called Snack?
He was keenly aware demons usually had long names that were nigh impossible to say correctly without a certain amount of practice. Very tasty, but not very filling.
Right. And what species of demon is she?
Succubus.
So that face you're showing me belongs to a succubus?
Yes.
And you call her Snack because you like eating her?
Yes. The spymaster quickly crossed out elf connection and wrote perverted box next to it.
Then what of the red-skinned, four-armed demon that was reportedly with you? Is she your ally?
Yes. He quickly added nose four-armed demon to his notes.
What is your relationship with it?
She is my thing. He circled the words perverted box and underlined them. He then raised an eyebrow at his own notes.
How are either of those your things, exactly?
Contracted to me. That could be better. Contracted to me.
You're the summoner?
Yes.
So you're a warlock?
Yes. I love how in this, oh crap. Come on. There it is. Oh, now I can see your comments. How dare you, sir? Make fun of my shirt. I messed that up. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so sometimes Neven will insert just instead of saying he didn't respond or he paused before responding, he just writes an ellipses and quotations, and that's it. So it's kind of hard to represent in audio form. So, but you know, all I do is pause, but I have to make a note for my proofer. Oh, there's supposed to be a pause here. So, the human went silent for a few seconds, then abruptly stood up and walked away somewhere outside the mimic's line of sight. There was the sound of a door opening and some distant voices were heard, but Boxy couldn't make out anything intelligible. Edward returned a few moments later and took his seat, then continued the interrogation.
Who taught you how to summon her?
Carl.
Does he have a last name?
Don't know.
Uh-huh. And where is this Carl?
The mimic hesitated for a moment, as it had never really thought about that before. Where was that guy? Was he really in the Beyond? Was he really in the Beyond? That was where demons normally resided, but Carl seemed to have access. Damn it. That was where demons normally resided, but Carl seemed to have access to something physical that made clacking noises. Such a thing could not exist in a place that was supposedly made up of dreams, nightmares, and loose thoughts. Then, was he in the material realm? Or some other place?
Answer me!
Yelled Edward, completely derailing the mimic's train of thought.
Ah! I don't know! Ah! I don't know!
The spymaster wrote down Carl, Warlock Mentor, in his notes and circled it. Then excuse me. When did you contract this fiend?
22 days ago, I think.
You think?
It was dark. Inside,
Explained the scared monster.
Not sure of actual day. Please no more yelling.
The spymaster regained his composure at the sight of the mimic swaying back and forth in fear while shaking the pale white head sticking out of it. It was oddly pathetic. Damn. Gases. It was oddly pathetic, almost innocent in some weird way. Edward had unwittingly put too much force behind his voice when he heard the monster say, 22 days ago. He could be forgiven for getting excited, though. Damn. He could be forgiven for getting excited, though, as that was the same day the calamity happened. He wrote in, Fiend Contract, before or after COM, in his notebook. Of course, he wasn't simply taking the monster's word on... Of course, he wasn't simply taking the monster's word on all this stuff. Edward was in possession of an ultimate skill called Eyes of Truth, which he obtained when he was... Edward was in possession of an ultimate skill called Eyes of Truth, which he obtained when his rogue job hit level 100. It let him pierce the veil on any deception and easily see through both audible and visible lies. That was how he was able to instantly see through the succubus's disguise the day before and apprehend her. It was a powerful ability well suited to his line of work, but he kept it a secret from the rest of the world for 3 reasons. The first of those was religion. If the temples knew he had obtained a skill that was so in tune with the goddess Teresa herself, he'd probably get dragged into all sorts of theological nonsense he wanted no part in. Such things would do nothing but waste his valuable time and attract unwanted attention that interfered with his work. Plus, he was never a particularly pious or God-fearing man anyway, so mingling with the clergy was more or less the opposite of his idea of a good time. The second reason was politics. He knew firsthand that nobles were creatures who lied all the time in order to protect their various interests, which wasn't to say it was always out of ill will, as even the... Which wasn't to say it was always out of ill will, as even the righteous ones had secrets they wished to protect. If they knew of Edward's flawless lie detector, they would likely plot against him or his office, which in turn would just open up more pointless work for the spymaster to deal with. Much like with the clergy, having to entertain the nobility was too much of a nuisance. The third reason was effectiveness. If word spread of his ultimate skill, then that would make it much harder to use. People would choose their words far more carefully or lie by omission and misdirection. Erosa's recent troubles with that nun and her cousin were a prime example of how one could skirt the truth. Speaking of which,
what of the disappearance of Sister? What of the disappearance of Sister Lio Rosetta? Did you have anything to do with her?
Who?
The nun that purportedly stole the Holy Pearl.
I don't know such a person.
This was, of course, the truth. Boxy did know of a succubus that stole a holy pearl. Boxy did know of a succubus that stole a holy pearl, but it knew nothing about a nun doing something like that. The old human stared at it for a few seconds before jotting down a note saying that... that case was probably unrelated. Having warmed up sufficiently, he moved on to the meat of the... matter.
What do you know of the calamity of Monotol?
What's a Monotol? Is it tasty?
You don't know about that place?
No.
The gears started spinning in the spymaster's head. That statement was not a lie, but it didn't mean it was true either. Perhaps it knew the place by another name? So Edward altered his line of questioning.
Have you ever been inside another city before coming here?
Where's here?
Erosa.
What's an Erosa? Is it tasty?
The spy master took a deep breath.
It's the city where I captured you.
Oh.
The two stared at each other for a while in total silence.
Well?
What?
So have you ever been to another city besides Erosa
Damn it.
So, have you ever been to another city besides Erosa or not?
No.
Then where were you before coming here?
On the road.
Where did you live before moving to Erosa?
The mimic paused for a moment to consider this question. Did it actually live anywhere? It had been pretty much homeless ever since it got out of the dungeon, so technically speaking, that was its last place of residence.
Lidagar Dungeon Complex.
So, you were born in that dungeon?
That's a question, not a statement. Guys, I suck at my job today.
So, you were born in that dungeon?
Yes.
Why did you leave it?
Got hungry.
Sweeper was swiftly added to the list.
Have you seen the human city near that dungeon?
Yes.
The old spy master felt a bit of tension leaving his shoulders. Now they were getting somewhere.
That place is the city of Monatal.
Oh.
So you know of it after all?
Yes.
Did you know it was destroyed?
Yes.
How did you know it was gone?
Saw the smoke cloud.
Did you have anything to do with that?
No.
The monster had just lied for the first time in this interview. Though Edward was not surprised. Right now, this creature's life rested entirely in the hands of a human, and it did not want to openly admit to murdering thousands of his kind. It was clearly a moron, but even if it was clearly a moron, but even it wasn't that stupid. Rather than being infuriated, however, the spy master was actually delighted. He had finally gotten a real lead on that troublesome case, and the faster he cracked it, the sooner he would be able to get out of here and back to the capital.
Were you the one who destroyed it? He asked.
No.
This one wasn't a lie, a fact that immediately put a damper on the man's rising mood. As for why his ultimate skill had deemed it so, it was because the truth was a more subjective thing than one might think. If someone held a misinformed opinion without knowing it and shared it out loud, then his words would be honest, regardless of being factually incorrect. In this case, Boxy legitimately believed from the bottom of its soul that it was not responsible for the destruction of Monatal. It was that giant, shiny core and the mysterious voice behind it that were the real culprits. After all, the dungeon was close enough that the city would have been vaporized regardless of whether the mimic dumped the thing on them. So, while it wasn't completely unrelated to the incident, it failed to see how any of that was its fault. Its ability to wholeheartedly deflect blame like this was truly... Its ability to wholeheartedly deflect blame like this was a truly frightening thing. Edward didn't give up so easily, though. This box knew something, so he decided to keep asking questions to... This box knew something, so he decided to keep asking questions until he got the information he wanted.
Did you order your familiar to destroy it then?
No.
Another truth. In this instance, Boxy had ordered Arms to roll a ball into a city. The destruction sort of happened after that.
Did you order anyone to destroy that city?
No.
Did someone tell you to make sure it was destroyed?
Make sure what was destroyed?
The city!
What about it?
Were you working with anyone to help you destroy the city of Monatal?
Oh! No!
Then, Are you affiliated with an elven witch in any way?
What's an affiliated? Is it tasty?
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Clang. Alright, that's it. It's the lack of booze. Maybe. Could be it. But that's our little section of Everybody Loves Large Chests for today. So, yeah. I guess that's going to be it for our regular readings. But now, it is time for some singing. I hate you guys, number one, for voting this to the top so quickly. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't even get this. I don't even get this, this song. I've listened to it a couple times, though. I think I got the melody. Okay. So I'll do my best. Where is it? I have here are the lyrics. But not only do you want me to sing Diggy Diggy Hole, but you want me to do it with German lizard accent. The AB is audiobook, so it doesn't really apply here. Doesn't really make sense in this context, but I don't care. Let's see. So yeah, here goes. I did a tiny bit of research. It came from a podcast called Yogscast, which I think I remember hearing about a long ass time ago and never really listened to it. Don't know what it's really about. I'm assuming it's kind of a nerdcast, maybe, kind of just about D&D or something. So I don't know what to say about it. It's a silly song. Maybe I just don't get the joke because I don't watch the podcast or something. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. I'll do the best I can, guys. I gotta unmute the computer now. No. We'll stop. Gotta mute myself. Here goes. Wait a minute. Let me full screen it. What?
Roses of the mine rejoice, swing, swing, swing with me. Raise your pick and raise your voice, sing, sing, sing with me. Down and down into the deep, who knows what we'll find beneath? Diamonds, rubies, gold and more, hidden in the mountain store. Born on the ground, circled from a teeth of stone, raised in the dark, the safety of our mountain home, skin made of iron, steel in our bones. To dig and dig makes us free. Come on, brother, sing with me. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole. The sunlight will not reach this low. Deep, deep in the mine, never seen the blue moon glow. Dwarves don't fly so high. Fill a glass and down some mead. Stuff your bellies at the feast. Stumble home and fall asleep, dreaming in our mountain keep. Born underground, grown inside a rocky womb. The earth is our cradle, the mountain shall become our tomb. Face us on the battlefield, you will meet your doom. We do not fear what lies beneath, we can never dig too deep. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole.
Whew. That is rough to sing with that voice. Oh.
From a teeth of stone, raised in the dark, the safety of our mountain home. Skin made of iron, steel in our bones. To dig and dig makes us free. Come on, brother, sing with me. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole, digging a hole.
That's it. I mean, I gotta say, it's a well-produced song. It's kind of funny. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Oh, man. Okay, so I got a message from Jess. She said 2 winners have been chosen. Better than what you usually have to use that accent for. There's a new one. There's a new Chuck Tingle. I gotta find it. Oh my god. I'm sure Michael Ryan Soilo will be requesting it soon. Slammed in the butt by my handsome laundry detergent pod. Oh man, I can't wait for that one. All right, so Paul Campbell Jr. won the headphones. So congratulations, Paul. She's still typing. She's telling us who won the video game. And Truffle, you won the Pillars of Eternity. So Jess is gonna message you guys. I wonder if Paul Campbell's here, but I always see Paul around, so I'm glad he got those. We'll be running more raffles like that this whole year, because I want to give you guys more special stuff, and up the stakes so that maybe other people will be attracted to it. Like just getting audiobooks, especially for people who don't even really know audiobooks that well. I mean, because those are the kinds of people that I also want to draw in. Like, I don't want to just get audiobook fans. I want to make new audiobook fans, right? So, doing raffles like this is going to be a more regular thing from now on. Yeah. So after this show, let's see, what time is it? It's about 6:12. We're gonna take a little bit of a break, and then at 7:00. So in about 45 minutes, we are starting the very first Drinking with Charles podcast. Now, the way that we got this idea was last weekend. We did that party stream, and it was really fun, but it was just a bit chaotic, and just because we had too many people on. But Charles really wanted to keep going. He kind of wanted to make it a weekly thing. So we're turning it into a podcast, and it's going to be exclusively about lit RPG and game lit. So I figured that our first episode, it would be great to have Blaze Corvin on, because Blaze is such an awesome, supportive part of the community. His Game Lit Society Facebook group is the best, game lit, the best place to hang out and talk about game lit. There is the other Facebook group, but I think that's focused on one particular thing that, I don't think a lot of people are really into anymore. And, authors keep getting kicked out of that group. So, yeah. We're going to have Blaze on. We're going to drink a lot. And we're going to talk about the new website that he's developing. And this is crazy because they're coming up with a website. The Book Brawl website is in development. It should be done soon. I believe there's great authors behind that website, and I think that GameLit needs something like that. We have Royal Road, right? And that's a great resource, but I think that Book Brawl it's just a little more polished looking, and it's got a little bit nicer of a theme, and I think it's going to draw more authors to it. Maybe even more legit, not just indie, not just people just starting off, but other legit authors might want to use it as like a promotional platform, to make their stuff available for free for a limited time, before it comes out. So Brook Brawl looks like it's going to be great. This new GameLit website is going to be great, and Sound Booth Theater's website is almost done. I know I've been saying that for months and months, but that's because I keep having to, everyone who jumps on board to do the website falls off. They for some reason just never stay committed. And Jess from Audio Bookworm is the one person who has been bam, bam, on top of it, getting things done. And so finally, I'm confident that we can have a legit launch. I haven't chosen a specific date yet, but it's going to be the very beginning of March, and probably the 3rd, I'm thinking. We'll have Annie Ellicott here to hang out with us, and what I'm going to do is, I'll get to that in a little bit, but for now, just remember to come back in 45 minutes or so to the same Sound Booth Theater Live YouTube channel to watch Drinking with Charles, and we're going to be featuring Blaze Corvin. So besides that, the Sound Booth Theater website launch, I want to do a special Sound Booth Theater for that, and we're going to make a new poll on the Facebook group, and I'm thinking that I'll do a 3-hour requests only, and what we're going to do is put on the poll, or have you guys request things from audiobooks that I've already produced. Request specific scenes in specific books that I've already done, and just pick your favorite scenes that you'd like to see me do live. And I don't know, we'll probably do 6 of them. And I'll have Annie here, and she'll be able to do the female parts or whatever parts that she feels like doing. And we're probably gonna drink and have a good time, just doing that. And for the website, my goal for the website is to make it a better place for you to go to find our streams, for instance, like instead of just going to YouTube or Twitch or trying to figure out where we're going to be. I want you to always be able to dependably go to the Sound Booth Theater website to find, whatever we're streaming. Number 2, I want a place where, we can show off all of the audiobooks I have for sale in a more flattering way, right? Like when I send people to Audible, to Audible to search for my stuff, I mean, all it is just a list of the books. The retail samples suck, so we're replacing all of them with SoundCloud samples. We're even gonna have all the YouTube videos that I've done, all the Sound Booth Theater lives are gonna be there with the books. We're gonna have everything sorted by author and by series, and also we're gonna have authors writing editorials about audiobooks, so that we can have regular content going through there. So basically what I'm saying is I want to make more content that's not just audiobooks. I want Sound Booth Theater to be a place for you guys to hang out and have fun. So we'll see if it works out that way. So once the launch happens, we will have another raffle. I don't know what it's going to be, but the prizes are going to be bigger. Haven't decided. We'll see exactly what they are, but we will definitely want you guys to share the website, sign up for the newsletter, which I need to write tomorrow. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and read the articles there. Check out, look at all of our past stuff and watch our progress there on the website. I'm really excited for it, and I'm hoping that Sound Booth Theater and Book Brawl and the Gamelit website can all kind of like connect together, and we can all have links to each other's pages on the side and such like that. Have this network of media going on. But anyway, that's enough babbling. It's almost 6:20. It's time for me to take a little break before I should probably start drinking now, so that in 45 minutes, it's hard to drink enough to get wasted, for me at least. So I want to pregame a little bit so that I start off pretty drunk before the stream starts. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you everybody for coming and hanging out. Thank you everybody for requesting. There will be a new poll tomorrow or the day after or something with more requests to be made. And I will keep you guys updated on the Facebook group as to when the exact launch date is for that website, and when the raffle starts. Wear pants for the next podcast. Why? It's cool. I'm wearing pants right now. I mean, they're pajama pants. That counts, right? They're polar bear pajama pants. Sorry, rambling again. Got distracted by the chat. Thanks, guys, and I will hopefully see you in